Aloha. Welcome to Marriage on the Spot. We're your co-hosts, Kent and Elizabeth Kitagawa. And today, this is I think it's a kind of an odd,
a different way, yeah.
subject for thinking about marriage and relationships. But actually, it can have a huge impact on our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because the first thing that we have to do have a healthy relationship is to be healthy ourselves.
That's right.
And so we're going to talk about actually a subject that just came up recently, and that is on journaling and especially the benefits of journaling.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been known as for therapy.
Yes.
As a therapeutic technique and method to keep people, allow people to track themselves and to be able to express and
Mm-hmm.
kind of vent.
Yeah, we actually learned about that 30 years ago when we first went through Marriage Encounter, and they talked about journaling.
A kind of a journal.
Yeah, they not
process.
necessarily every day, but maybe once or twice a week, and they had a certain way of explaining it to us and the difference from thoughts to feelings, and so we learned a lot then, but only recently
Mm-hmm.
it really seems to pop up a lot of places. And I want to give credit to who credit belongs. I got a very small part at the beginning, actually, from Kaiser, from the Kaiser Hospital, sent that
Kaiser
out
Permanente,
to the clients.
So it's got
I
to be
was
good
really
because,
surprised that came from there. So a little bit at the beginning, I took from there. And
there's a lot of health benefits that are associated with the process of journaling, creating that habit of journaling. It's interesting that they started out their thing saying, what do Albert Einstein, Marie Curie, Frida Kahlo, Leonardo da Vinci, and Frederick Douglass all have in common? And these were all very famous names, in different fields. But each of these famous figures kept a journal or diary to record their experienced thoughts and feelings. Frida Kahlo and Leonardo da Vinci even used illustrations to express their emotions and to sketch out ideas. So, there's a lot of different ways that we can work this,
Yes.
but all of them have their benefits, it can help us to track, to put goals, setting goals for ourselves, and that would be especially good, around New Year's time,
Yeah, I didn't even think about that till right now. I think it was Easter, and our birthdays are both in the same time of Easter, the same week. And we did a journal that day, what is special about this week for us. That's kind of what we wanted to write on. And then we finished that, and I said, you know what? Let's go back to last year's birthday, because we keep it in the book, in the journal. And so we went to look back, of course, last year at this time in May, end of April, May. We did put something down. Oh, I sure hope by June next year.
June,
that
June
year.
of that year,
That
the
year.
2020,
By June,
right?
this pandemic would be over, so we could go on with life.
Yeah.
And I kind of laughed, and I thought, I didn't think that at that time that maybe this June we're still not completely normal. And then we said, oh, let's go in between. And I think we took New Year's, so New Year's Eve in there. And I said, you know, one thing I can see in every one of those inputs, how faithful God was. We were maybe sometimes disappointed, we were a little frustrated, we were this and that. I checked with about 3 during the year, but I said, God was faithful. First of all, he kept us safe, at least our family. We are safe and we were saved. And I just was so thankful to God. And looking back through the journal gave me a real deep appreciation for God's grace in spite of all what happened in 2020, early 21.
Yeah, and the second thing here that we, Kaiser put down is, tracking growth. And that was another thing we were able to do, was looking back to see our growth, One of the things that we actually were able to see was our, just technologically, learning new things, right? Things that we
Are you talking about Zoom and all that?
Zoom and
all that virtual stuff.
Right, go-to meetings and all of these different concepts and how to put, share screen and, put music on and, we all of these things that we would never have otherwise, picked up as a skill. That we got to grow in these things, and now it's a part of our toolbox. We can do that if we need to, get together with a couple, and let's say they can't, take off, or they've got kids at home, and
and at one point we couldn't even get together with the family or anything, because
so
there
we can
was a
still,
no-no.
Right. And we've done meetings with people as far as Africa.
Yes, we did actually a teaching, 6 weeks, was it 6 weeks teaching?
About 6,
A marriage seminar where one couple, the fiancé at that time, the fiancé was here in Hawaii, but his fiancée was in Africa, South Africa. And when we had 7 o'clock in the evening, she just got up and had 7 o'clock in the morning and could do the class. It was turned out really perfect.
Yeah, it was really interesting doing that. And that wouldn't have been something we would have known had it not been for, all the pandemic and all of that. So, you can track that and you can see those positive gains, right? And that gives us, again, gaining self-confidence, Seeing your progress gives you a serious confidence boost, knowing that we can grow, and even at our, shall we say, mature stage in life.
Oh, you talk about yourself?
Yeah. We can see that we can still pick up these things.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I have a little harder time than you.
Right, but
not
the
quite
thing is,
as good, but I'm learning.
Yeah, we can still do it, and with a little bit of help from our friends,
Yeah, and if by any chance you were on Marriage on the Spot about a year ago, you might have seen some shows which were actually taped in our living room.
That's right.
We had all kinds of lights. We took all kinds of lights from the whole house. I think we bought one new one, and we made our own studio at our house. So we did about maybe 6 shows or something until Olela was open again. Yeah, that was interesting. Another learning experience.
And it reduces stress and anxiety. Journaling allows us, again, because we do. If we try keeping everything in our head, we just try, and our system naturally will just keep cycling through these negative emotions, negative thoughts, and because that it's almost a defensive mechanism that we as human beings go through, but it can also be damaging to us emotionally and physically, you know.
Mhm.
We carry this chronic anxiety, and journaling helps to
Mhm.
release that.
Yeah. We have a friend who is good in sketching, so we encouraged him, you know, if you don't want to write, maybe you can just do a sketching.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he likes that better,
Mm-hmm.
doing the sketching, and it said it really helps him to look back on some
Sure.
worse and some better days.
Right, and it allows
Mhm.
you, like I said, to release it, because now you're not trying to carry all of that in your mind,
Mhm.
in the back of your head, you know, and you know, keep that loop going.
Mhm.
You know, you break that.
Yeah.
So you know, and it helps you. A lot of times, people have said that when they do their journaling, going through journaling, they can find solutions.
Mhm.
You know, it helps them get out of that negative loop and to be able to actually look at with a different perspective, you know, and
Yeah.
be able to find a solution.
Mhm.
To
Yeah, you know, when I do journal, I usually write a little bit, you know, maybe a quarter page. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. And then I closed the book, and I said, okay, what's the overall feeling I have now?
Mhm.
Am I happy? Am I more stressed? Am I relaxed? Am I satisfied? Whatever. And especially from Facebook, we learned to use all those emoticons. And I have a little magnet. Someone gave me a magnet for on the fridge with, I don't know, maybe 25 or 30 different pictures of emoticons, yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
And I sometimes took those and say, okay, what face would I give me
Mhm.
now for that? And that's basically how we also, or I came up with the idea, let's go back and see our last birthday.
What emoticon
Then
was
the
there?
emoticon was there, and that was a little bit stressful and hopeful for June to be over with.
Mhm.
And then we one in the summer, one at New Year, and then one, yeah. And that's when I say, my feeling is trust in God, being He's
Being
faithful.
confident.
So confidence would be,
Yeah.
confidence in
Mhm,
His
mhm,
guidance.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. You know, there are different ways, you know, we can do. The other thing that I've done with some people, you know, to like dealing with certain emotional problems, but to see if possibly there might be a diet, you know, what do you call, component of their diet. And,
Yeah.
you know, especially if they're eating a lot of junk foods or they're not eating right, you know, is to have them keep a food journal,
Yes.
you know, keep
What?
a track of what are they eating daily, because they say, oh, well, I eat okay, I eat good, you know, and
Yeah,
then when you
Ken,
look,
we eat much better, but I told you recently, I remember my journaling. I sleep better when I have ice cream in the evening before I go to sleep. That's what I told myself.
that one there, big
Actually-
question mark on that
Actually,
one.
yesterday I was on a Zoom meeting with Coach Mike Bear, who is also with Dr. Phil often on, and they had Dr. Sophie on, and he said, you know, having magnesium in the evening really helps
Mhm.
in to sleep better. And I thought by myself, well, but I still rather have ice cream. Okay, you can go on more.
Okay, all right. And the other thing that I like to they had talked about is a gratitude journal.
Yes, I do that sometimes with some life coach clients, and I say, every day, find at least one thing you are grateful for. At least, one said, oh, I can't find anything grateful about my husband or whatever. He said, does he do that? No. Does he do that? No. Does he do that? No. And then she said, what does he do? Well, he comes home and goes to sleep. And the person's client or the client then said that, and the coach, which was not me there, said, well, write that down. One positive thing to be gratified, grateful is my husband comes home at night. Not every woman can say that. And so find something in your spouse, find something in your kids. Sometimes they are, especially when they're teenagers, so they might be a little complicated, and so where we all, and we all remember those days, but every one of them has something positive. One might be the one who can make you laugh. One might be the one who is glad to help you carry in the bag from the cars. Just, can I help you, Nana? I just hear that, from one of the grandkids, or do you need this, Nana? And they think about it. Find those little things which makes the day go better, and write it down, because you might have days when you said, what good can come out of this? And I told you about that. My aunt sometimes said that about me. My quirky humor, maybe it's a little irritating sometimes. Well, you might have already got some of that. But she had certain things which I know she liked about me. I know that. But sometimes she said, oh, she doesn't like me. Can't you be a little more quiet? Well, I tried, but then when I got older and got to college and went to work with teenagers in a rehab center, she was mighty proud of what happened and that I could handle it. There is always something we can find in each other. So find it in each other, and if you need to and you would forget, put it in your journal.
Yeah. And that's something we need to track, What are those things that are positive in our day? Because especially nowadays, it's so easy with so much negative news and negative, things going on, that we can fall into that, negativity. And this, like I say, we talk about how does this benefit, or how does this impact our relationships? And this is exactly the kinds of things that will change our attitudes, keep us on an even keel, help us to find me, and to be able to share with one another these things, to be mindful of those positive events that do happen, or positive things that someone has done for us, and we can share that, and that will help to keep our relationships on a positive keel,
And days, events, journal, especially in the COVID times, we just thought, okay, what can be what can be the event? We kind of stuck at home. I sent you to shop usually, and you did a good job learning to shop. Very good. So I hope it's in the journal too. But when I had to learn to go on those Zoom meetings, I thought, oh my gosh, I don't remember how I do that and how I do that and whatever. And someone said, just look for the fish. I said, for the fish? What's the fish? It was the camera, yeah. I think she called it the fish. And now I have a tendency to look for the fish. Yeah, but I had to learn it. But I wrote stuff down which he told me how to do it, so that when I have to do it next time, I can maybe do it without much help, or now without help. So I'm very thankful for that. So it helps to write it down, not only that you can go back, but it's proven that if you write something down which is important, even a lecture at school, you know, it's good to write it down. It stays in your mind.
Yes.
And some people write in the service, church service, take some notes. We now in the virtual church service, I started taking notes in an extra part of the journal, so I can see what was important to me, and once in a while I go back to that.
Because it signals to our brain, right, that this is something important, you know, that I need to remember. And journaling has been proven to actually help strengthen your memory. You know, so it's a like I say, it has these good benefits, especially like I said, as you get older, you gotta you know, write things more to keep it. You know.
Yes.
Yeah. And, you know, and you know, it's so important, you know, to remember to sometimes we have, you know, we have to develop this as a habit, and it's like any habit, it takes time. You know, they say, you know, it takes about 21 days, 21 to 28
To establish
days
one.
to establish a habit. So this is why it's important to do it on a regular basis. You know, so that you can, you know, and you know, finding you know, the best time to do that, and to establish some kind of regular schedule or priority for that, so that you can. And it also sometimes, you know, especially if you tend to use this as a therapeutic tool, it can be cathartic, you know. It can bring up some painful emotions, painful thoughts. It brings up those things, and yeah, that can almost make us avoid
To want
to
to
want
journal, yes.
you know, just because we're afraid of facing it. But it is especially because of that we should be journaling. Those are the exact things that we should be writing out and putting, because that will help us to heal,
Yeah.
to process through, and to heal from those harsh
Yeah.
memories.
Yeah. It's like sometimes when you have some maybe a bitterness in your heart against someone or whatever, and you think, okay, I'm going to write that guy or that lady or that son, daughter a letter, and you write it, and you write it, and you write, and then you said, oh, I better read it before I send it, and then you look through it afterwards. That was kind of harsh. I was really bitter here. I shouldn't have said that. But when we say it, we cannot take it back. But in that way, you can take it back. And if you want to, you can rip it off apart. And I remember many times that I ripped something apart. I thought, no, that's not worth sending off, or that's not worth telling that person that stuff. And with that, just that I wrote it myself, it seems like, which I did before, I shredded it, and then I threw it in the trash. Or in the early days at college, I remember that we had I don't know what we call it, a thought burning ceremony. We made a little by the girls' dorm outside. We made a little fire, and everybody could bring the trash letters. And I remember how we threw it in there, and afterwards had a victory, ceremony that we could get rid of that stuff, and then you don't bring it back up anymore, and you're free of it.
Yeah, so it's exactly those thoughts and feelings.
Yes.
Expressing those things, and especially being able to write that down, expressing it, helps us, one, to get it out in the open, and to break that negative loop that sometimes we can get stuck in. And also, like you say, it allows us to release it. Gives us the opportunity to really see and to see, hey, you know what? Maybe we can have compassion for this person. Maybe there's something going on in their lives that we hadn't thought about. Maybe there's some reason or something that we may have done to set them off or trigger them. But it allows us, like I said, to not just fire, shoot from the hip, so to speak, but to really, to speak, to see that.
Well, we want to encourage you to take out a journal, buy a little notebook or whatever, and start writing. Enjoy the newfound freedom. May you enjoy it and have a wonderful week. God bless you. Aloha.
God bless.